Hey there, welcome back to my channel. My name is Allison, and today I'm going to share with you how I overspent on my low buy budget, what I'm doing about it, and how I'm going to move forward. So if you're new to my channel, I'd love for you to subscribe. I am sharing all about my low buy journey this year, my learnings, clearly my failures along the way. It's a new muscle that I'm building, and I would love to know if you're on a low buy journey or a no buy journey this year. I also love to share about clean, green makeup, non toxic skincare products, and then the books that I'm reading. So, those are the three things that I love to talk about on this channel, and I would love for you to subscribe if those are interesting to you. So, let's get into it. I overspent on my low buy budget for the month of May. It's a really big bummer, frankly. Like, I feel pretty sad about it, not about the things that I got. I love the things that I bought, but I just feel like very classic, like being down on yourself for like not keeping up on your commitments, kind of beating yourself up for, not doing what you said you were going to do. So I've been wrestling with that this month, and I will get into the numbers next of like what I started the month of May with and onward from there. But I just wanted to share that, like, I'm not immune to feeling really just, disappointed, I guess is like the best way to put it, just like disappointed in myself for overspending on my low buy budget. For those of you that haven't watched my low buy rules, which I will link down below, just to give like a quick overview for the rules that pertain to this video. I have a very small low buy budget for the year. I have $125 a month that I can spend. If I don't spend all of that budget in a month, it does roll over into the next month, but I can't go spending future months' money. Those are the rules that I set for myself, along with many others of things that I'm just not allowed to buy this year. So I have 25 things that I'm on a no buy for. I will link that video down below. There's also other rules that I've put in place to support myself in my low buy journey, and I've been doing great so far, but we're hitting almost that halfway point. It's May, and it's just getting tougher, and I can only imagine that it's going to get harder as the year goes on. You start off feeling really strong, and then things just get harder the more that you have to actually integrate this behavior. So one of the main reasons why I'm on a low buy journey is because I want to align my shopping with my values. So definitely buying higher quality pieces, not mindlessly scrolling and shopping. That's the main reason why I read a lot more now, and I'd love to share about those books that I read. So there's a lot, again, that I'm not going to re-go over that are in my low buy rules. So I will say, besides being, just like disappointed with myself and just kind of bummed that I didn't hit the mark, and I felt, I didn't follow all of my low buy rules that I put in place for myself. I have seen, as I've been reflecting this month, I have seen that having accountability is so key. Now, I just have you watching this video, putting it out on the internet. That is keeping me accountable, because I've said that I'm doing this, I'm showing up, I'm sharing with you all. And so I have that in the back of my mind. And so I just wanted to flag that if you're doing a low buy journey or a no buy year, that having someone that knows that you're doing it, that you're accountable to, that checks in on you maybe monthly or something like that, or you are just like, hey, every month I'm going to tell you like how much I spent and if I stayed within my budget. I've realized that so much of like my guilt and disappointment is knowing that I was going to have to come and film this video. I feel like if I set this rule for myself and it was just me and I overspent my budget, I'd be like, well, I was still like relatively in line, and I would just like keep going about my month and my next month, and then it would like unravel, a few more months down the line into the year. I probably wouldn't even be on a low buy anymore. So I've really seen that having that accountability has been so key in, you know, really making me take this thing seriously and realizing that like I have to show up, I have to report out on it. I mean, I don't have to, but I am choosing to. And because I have that, it's like it's keeping me more in check. So I've realized that like in my own life, if I want to really change a behavior or start something new, like maybe I need a friend and I need to ask my friend like, hey, can like when we, you know, talk on the phone or when I send you the text, like, can I check in about this thing and will you ask me about it or something like that. Like I just realized that having this accountability makes a lot, makes a big difference in staying committed to it. So thank you for being my accountability buddy. And if you need one, put one in the comments below, you know, and like check in with me along the year. I would love to do that together. So if you're like me, you probably want to know the numbers. I love to know the numbers. I was feeling so good. I even finished the month of April with underspending my budget again. So I rolled over and I started the month of May with $318. And I was feeling flush with cash. Like it's not that much money, especially nowadays with how expensive everything is. But I just like I felt like I had a lot of money. So I was like, this is so great. I got a lot of money. And the month of May in this household is Cowboy Carter month. So I went and I saw Beyonce. I actually went 2 times and saw her show in LA, once with my girlfriends and once with my husband. It was incredible. That, if you know about my Lowbuy like rules, concert tickets and things like that are not, it's my Lowbuy budget is very much on like goods, actual things that I buy. So anyways, my Cowboy Carter tickets were not in my budget and like if they weren't supposed to be. But that $125 that I've spent or haven't spent, when I started off the month of May, I had $318. And of course, I bought a concert t shirt, which, I mean, let's just have a moment for it. It's amazing. I love it. I had to buy like the official merch. I'm obsessed with it. It was $55, like so expensive, of course. So that's where it started. We were in LA. I took the next day off of work and we were hanging out in Venice and Santa Monica and popping into shops that I don't usually go to. And we started off by going to Madewell, and I, you know, like every woman, I think you always crave like the perfect pair of jeans. At least I know I have my entire life. You're always like on the hunt. You're like, this pair of jeans I have, I love with these things, or when I feel like this or this, but like you're always just craving that perfect pair of jeans. And what I've realized living out here in Joshua Tree for the last like going on 3 years, it's a lot harder to shop because there isn't like, you know, a mall, shop, stores that you can go to, especially for clothes. Like I'm tangible. I like to put things on my body. I like to know how they fit. I'm more of a mid-sized woman verging on plus size. So it's just like, you know, things don't always fit you well. Like sometimes the large, extra large works great. And sometimes you need like, you know, a plus size, and you can be in between sizes a lot. At least that's how, again, my body is. So I just have really missed like being in person. So I go into Madewell, I'm trying on all these jeans. The woman that's helping me is like amazing. I find a great pair in the curvy like section. I have them here, but I'll link them down below. Like they're just, you know, a great like wide leg jean. They are like, Madewell does have a fair trade line if you didn't know that. So I looked for those specifically. Not all of their clothes have this fair trade factory certified. Um, but anyways, these are the curvy wide leg jeans. They're in their curvy line, which I found a huge difference, again, just for like my body. So what the woman said is that like you could try on the 32 in straight sizes or the 32 in curvy, and the difference is there's like a little more give in the hips, and it actually goes up a little higher, and it like nips in more at the waist. And that difference, so you don't get that gapping around your back, which I've always gotten. Anyways, this isn't a jeans video, but if you struggle with finding jeans, like just going into the shop was such a huge difference. Like just being able to blow through all of them, not having to deal with online returns, and then you miss the window, and just like I've had a lot of issues with shopping online since I moved out here to Joshua Tree. So it was so cool to be in person. I found these jeans, they were amazing. They were $150. So like not cheap, but again, I was like, I got budget. I bought a $50 shirt or $55 shirt. Again, this is also part of my learning, is that like I really have to like be tracking things like tax and like all of that. But like in my mind, it was like $55 shirt, $150 jeans. Like that's only $200. I know I got 300 and something dollars was like what I was saying in my brain. And we keep walking and we're getting a coffee and we're walking around the beach and this and that. And then I see an Everlane store. And I've loved Everlane for years. Like pre-pandemic, I was shopping from Everlane. They're a great sustainable company. I have a lot of my items that I bought before the pandemic. So these things are like 6, 7+ years old. The quality is amazing. And I was like, oh my God, an Everlane store. It was just so cool, like a brand that I've loved for years and that I haven't shopped at for a really long time, but to go in and see things in person. Well, I started looking around again, like I'm riding that shopper's high, all that dopamine, feeling fancy and free, and just like riding high from Cowboy Carter and finding great jeans. And I bought another pair of jeans, you guys. I bought another pair of jeans. These are Everlane's barrel leg jeans. Also, Everlane now has what is like a classic curvy line, but they call it hourglass. Same thing, a little more room in the hips, and then like nips in at the waist, even though it's still the classic. These are also size 32, just like the other ones. These are their way high twisted curve jean. These are their barrel leg jeans. And I just, again, I will link them down below. I love them. I feel like an artist when I wear them, honestly. Like they just have such a cool feel to them. That's how I got myself into this hole. I got myself into this hole like day 7 of the month. And we're driving back home. It's like a 3-hour drive. I'm on my phone. I'm like in my notes app. If you've watched other Lowbuy videos of mine, you know that that's how I track my budget. I like to keep it really simple. I don't have a whole spreadsheet. $125 goes very fast. So it's very simple for me to just track things. And then I was like, $55 for a t-shirt, $150 for jeans, $125 for my Everlane jeans. And like I started the month with $318. And when I added everything up, I got to $355, which means I overspent my budget by $37. So that's how I got myself into the hole. Again, I was like in person, I was riding high from like the concert and being in these stores that I don't have access to in my community, and getting to try things on, and was just like, oh, this is such a relief to be in person trying things on, not having to scroll on my phone, scroll on my computer. I have a full-time job where I'm on the computer all the time. And one of the main reasons I'm on my Lowbuy journey and I read now instead of being on my phone is because I want less screen time in my life. Is a reminder, and one of my big takeaways is like that accountability, being you, that accountability, tracking your budget, like having that tangible, easy access to it, like from Everlane or from Madewell into Everlane. Like I should have pulled out my phone, pulled out my notes app, put in the concert t-shirt, the jeans from Madewell, and walked into Everlane later that day, or any boutique or any shop that I walked into. I should have been like, okay, now I have $102 left, or whatever the number would have been. I guess it was less than that. It would have been like 90 something dollars. Like I should have had that number before I walked into any other store. That way, when I got into Everlane and I was like so excited to like be in person and knowing that I love their quality of their items, I just wouldn't have gotten swept up. And trust me, I could have spent so much more money. I was trying on linen pants. They were like crisp white, that classic crisp white tee from Everlane. Like I could have spent hundreds of dollars. But in my mind, I was like, no, I'm on a Lowbuy budget. Like, I only have around $300. I was keeping that in my mind. And so I was curbing that appetite. And I really got like, I started getting swept up in the in-person-ness of the day in LA. But I do want to acknowledge, and I think that this is also important, is like acknowledging like where you failed, but also like where maybe you still have some wins. You know, I didn't go like off the deep end, right? We're talking under $40, $37 overspent. It is overspent. I'm not allowed to do that, but that is what I did. I just realized now that like every time I have a transaction, I can't wait until the end of the day to add everything up. Started the month with $318. I spent $355. So I overspent my budget by $37, which means from the 7th of May until June 1st, I've been on a NoBuy. That is a part of my Lowbuy rules, and I have kept that up. There's still a week left, and Memorial Day is here, and there are so many Memorial Day sales. And you know, I'm having to be like, no, girl, you are on a NoBuy right now. So like for the rest of the month, I've put myself on a NoBuy. So I am going to deduct that $37 from my $125 in June. So on June 1st, I'm only getting $88. I'm not getting $125. That's also part of the way that I'm trying to hold myself accountable to my overall like annual budget that I've put for myself for the whole year. So this is also like a learning that when I set my rules at the beginning of the year, like maybe I needed to put some things in place to do like the what if, like what if you overspend your budget? What if you this or that? And I've made those rules on the fly. I didn't want to put those rules in place because then it felt like I was already creating like an avenue for myself, handle it when it happens. I feel like this is the best approach. I'm moving on. I'm staying committed. I'm taking the learnings and I'm going and I'm keeping at it because I'm really trying to reset this habit. So I'm staying committed. This is the second, had a mess up in May. But I do genuinely love the 2 pairs of jeans that I have, and the concert tee. I mean, like, I'm gonna be wearing that thing when I'm like an 80-year-old woman. I do have some regrets about the shopping of the jeans, and that's just because like I like overspent and I wish I didn't overspend. There is still so much goodness about being on this Lowbuy journey because it is keeping me like in check, like as I'm floating around on little mini vacations or in my own daily life. Like just having such a strict and small Lowbuy budget has really just been supportive of me being more intentional with my shopping. And those are all the things that I was hoping for this journey. I'm just here to say, like, if you mess up, figure out if there's something in place that you can change so that you can like not mess up in the future. Like for me now, every transaction I do when I leave that store or log off that online cart, I'm going to be updating my app to keep myself like really accountable. So that's just something to keep in mind. Like, how do you edit your rules along the way? And for me, I saw that it was way more effective and more joyful to shop in person. When I'm like, okay, I want a pair of like, I'll just use the linen pants again. I want a pair of linen pants for the summer. I need to find a weekend day and like drive down to Palm Springs and go shop in person. Because for me, that was like, and with my body type and just like with the joy of like being in person, touching the fabrics, really feeling them, seeing how they sit on my shape and my body, was just like way more enjoyable and really felt effective because it's like now I don't have to deal with online returns. Like it's all just like done in the moment. You're in the store, you get the support of the person at the store, and it's just like a more joyful experience. So that is one of my learnings from this month. So I think it's really important that when we mess up, we take a beat, we see why, what can we put in place to help ourselves not make that mistake again, but that we stay committed. And that's what I'm doing. So anyways, I hope that you enjoyed hearing my story of how I broke my Lowbuy budget in the month of May. I would love if you would subscribe and let me know if you are on a Lowbuy or NoBuy journey. And if you want to keep watching Lowbuy videos, I will link my Lowbuy rules here so that you can continue on and hopefully it will help you in your own journey. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.